And of course, the radical left would once again attack her over, what she said.
I am impressed with the speed in which DeSantis did something about this. We're seeing stories out of New York and California where lawmakers are just sitting on their asses and doing nothing about it. And I think it's wrong. I think that they shouldn't just sit around and do nothing as these stories continue to flood the press. But I also want to note, we don't know how widespread squatting really is. Judd Legum in his Substack Popular Info addressed how there is really no organization keeping track of how widespread squatting is. And so I don't want to treat this as if it's a widespread issue because we don't know how widespread it is. But nonetheless, for the few who might be victimized by this, there should be legal protections so they're not victimized by this. And I'm glad to see that Florida.
Now, really quick, I want you guys to know right now that the TYT segment where Anna said exactly what was just said, also something else too that needs to be said is, which by the way is going to be coming up towards the end of the video. That video right there, the one I was talking about, the TYT segment where she basically praised Ron DeSantis for signing legislation ending the squatters' rights down in the state of Florida. Don't worry, we'll be talking about this because obviously we have an example to go over of squatting, let's just say squatters basically getting away with the crime itself and nobody actually correcting them once again. However, in this case right here, I think the start of what happened might be the sign of what exactly occurred that made matters a lot worse than what it was. I know that there may have sounded a little bit confusing, but bear with me really quick. We're going to be getting back to Anna more so towards the end of the video, but also something else too, and I started to say this earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Due to the fact that, of course, things are going to be changing around the apartment complex, due to the fact that things are going to be changing around the area that I'm in, these types of videos that come out on Monday, they will always be videos that were recorded from the weekend, probably on Sunday, which more than likely is the video you're watching now, because I gathered the info on this situation on Saturday, but of course I recently now just got to recording it. So just know that those videos will be coming out on Monday going forward, mostly due to what's going on outside the apartment on Mondays themselves. We're in the spring, and of course it's about to be summer, and of course this is also a good time to kind of adjust the overall posting schedule. So we'll be going back to 3 and 6, at least beyond Monday. So just keep that in mind going forward. Now, let's go ahead and get to the story. So, we've talked about squatters in a couple of videos, and I've asked the questions, what's going to happen to said squatters? What's going to happen after a while when squatters realize that people begin to actually stand up to them without using law enforcement because they seem to understand that law enforcement may not actually be on the homeowner's side? Well, after a while, what's going to happen is that people eventually will get tired of it. However, there are situations and circumstances where some people may have accidentally put themselves in a situation, or they may have actually been quite trusting on a situation. Now, I want to go ahead and say this right now, and I'm not saying this to be a jerk or anything. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to be as relatable as possible because I do understand what this guy is going through. This guy in Atlanta, who, by the way, is not even living in Atlanta. He's living in California, but let's just say that he allowed some people on his land a while back, and of course, when it came to 2020, he wanted to cut that crap, but of course, it's been 3 or 4 years, and of course, he's not been able to get the situation squared away, and of course, as a result of this, the squatters are now hitting him basically with a lawsuit. We'll get to that here in a second. I understand as somebody who may have property, who may want to rent property out or may want to rent land out, I understand that some people may be a little bit more trusting when it comes to certain people or giving people a place to stay. However, if you allow things to fester and if you allow people to stay on your land a little bit too long or a little bit longer than necessary, after a while, they're eventually going to take advantage of your kindness, which is exactly what's going on with this situation.
The property owner is frustrated after he says people have been living on his land without permission for years. He says squatters have been living on his Southeast Atlanta property since the pandemic. Fox 5's Mary Smith breaking it all down for us tonight.
The owner of this 9-acre property tells us he plans to build fencing around the front of the property in an effort to keep people out.
It's frustrating that I'm having to spend so much money. I spent $10,000 on cleaning up garbage from vagrants.
Now, this guy here, from what you're about to see, he basically decided to let these people stay on his land. Okay? He let them stay on his land. He would also move to California. Basically, the idea was that he was going to stay in California primarily. I have no idea why anybody would want to move to California. He would also then rent the land out, the property that he had out, in the hopes of actually putting more property or more homes on said property. People do it all the time. People rent out other properties, rent out other homes. It happens all the time. Okay, it's just what people do sometimes. You get extra money. You know, you own a certain piece of land, you want to build homes, you got the money, you want to get more money, basically more rent money, basically is what you want to do. Now, why he would do this from California, seeing as the property was in Georgia, is beyond me. But still, this way is a clear-cut example of allowing people to stay on your land a little bit too long. Now, what I wanted to kind of get across going into this video, and of course you guys know me, I do this stuff off script. After a while, people will in fact take advantage of your kindness, and I think my man has learned this the hard way. But let's watch some more.
Atlanta native David Morris, who now lives in California, owns this 9-acre property in Atlanta's Lakewood area. It's the site of his former nonprofit, Lakewood Environmental Arts Foundation. He said about 10 years ago, he started letting 4 people live on the property rent-free if they helped care for the land. But during the COVID pandemic, he closed the nonprofit and noticed even more people staying on his property.
The people who are living on the lands started having other people live on the land, their friends. I tried to file eviction, and the city of Atlanta said, sorry, we have a moratorium on evictions right now.
He says now, years later, he has about 8 people living on the property and was contacted by code enforcement to clean it up.
The last month, I've gone through 5 dumpsters.
And he says in recent months, at least one person living on the property filed a counterclaim for $190,000.
I think we talked about this in a previous video, how it was that a lot of times these squatters will come out there and they'll invite their friends and bring more and more people up there to try to get more money. In this case right here, it just seems to me like this right here would lead to something much, much bigger. And of course, I'll talk about it on the other side or here a little bit later on in the video. But of course, I'm talking about the Stop Cop City crap. Yeah, the protest, the Antifa. Yeah, basically what they did was they turned this entire situation to a great big giant party. The news is obviously cleaning it up, but I'm pretty sure you guys can see that this is what squatters do. They bring other people onto the property to try to get more money off of them. They're leeches. This right here is who the hell these people are. They have no honor. They have no decency at all. But then again, at the same time, though, they did kind of take advantage of this guy's kindness. But don't worry, we will get to that whole aspect more so towards the end of the video. $190,000. $190,000. Now, guys, I could sit here and repeat the same details that were given to you in that story, and I can already hear somebody saying we should never have allowed these people to stay on his land because obviously these people stayed on a little bit too long. I understand that. I get that. However, if the property is in your name, if you own said property, therefore you should have rights as homeowners or property owner to keep squatters off the land. I showed you guys in the previous video exactly the proper way to handle squatters, okay? I can't obviously tell you exactly what that was, or at least what I would actually do in this case, because if I did that, YouTube, of course, would say that I violated their terms of service. Which, by the way, the second video of the day is going to be very, very spicy, given the fact that we just had a president literally proclaim the day before Easter not going to mention it right now. Let's just know that the day involves a community that begins with the letter T. But we'll talk more about that in the next video because obviously you've got people on the left eating one another, and there's actually a good explanation of why it was that these people are stuck in the holy hell that they're in. You've also got people right now who are going out of their way to say stuff like, "Oh no, man, the squatters, it's their land. Nobody is occupying the land, so therefore we can have it. God gave it to us." Basically, is what they're trying to say. And of course, they're also winning lawsuits. But we'll get to the lawsuit aspect of this here in a second because an interesting piece of information was released by the Daily Mail, which I'll get to here soon. The point is this right here. Squatters are lowlifes. Squatters don't want to move off the land. Squatters take advantage of your kindness. If you allow them to stay on said land, they will take advantage of this. They will not leave. They will not move. I have family, by the way, that does rent out properties. And of course, one of the main issues they've always had is they get somebody who doesn't want to leave the property. You evict somebody, they don't want to leave. Now, I understand in some states you may have 30 days, you may have 60 days to leave. Some landlords, quite frankly, are pretty good about the situation. They'll say, okay, look, you're behind on your payment. I'll give you the time to make the payment. You work with them, this, that, and the other. And of course, you make the payment and you stay in said place. No problems, no harm, no foul. Things get fixed. The landlord takes care of it. But this right here looks like a situation where an individual got taken advantage of. I mean, dude, why in the world would you move to California and allow these people to basically come in and squat on your land? And now they're suing you for $190,000, which By the way, this guy may not even have, but then again, though, given the fact that he moved to California, maybe he does have it, or maybe the money is tied up in something else. I mean, maybe it's not liquid assets. The point of the matter is this right here. This squatting crap has obviously got to stop. Now, I do want to say one more thing before we go further. When he said that there was an eviction moratorium, that right there was actually signed as an executive order by former President Biden. He did this shortly after he became president, basically allowing people to continue to stay in these homes. It was designed for New York City, and it was also designed for Chicago. Basically what it was that, during COVID, people couldn't pay their rent, whatnot, so they stayed in here. Of course, the situation was a lot worse than what I said. Basically, everybody was taking advantage of that executive order. And of course, after a while, landlords are going to say, look, we're not getting paid. They're going to say, screw this crap right here. This person here will never get rented to ever again. You owe me money. I mean, it's like the old saying, rent money, you owe me cash. But then next thing you know, the said squatter or said tenant who did not pay is suddenly taking you to court. And because of cities like, say, New York and now Atlanta, very, very liberal place, these people are now taking advantage of the landlord. So many people are asking the question, what's going to happen next? Well, there was one aspect of this right here that makes this entire situation make a lot more sense. So I'm going to play for you guys now.
There was no actual, that counterclaim, because they didn't show up in court. So it will take, I'm predicting another 30 days before the marshals will call me to schedule a time for me to have 5 people here to move everything from there to the street. I did get a writ of possession on Friday.
About a year ago, Atlanta police visited the area where activists said about 24 of them were detained.
The entire medical staff of Stop Cop City camped on this land, and there's about 30 campers. And the police came in and pulled them out of their tents. I'm neutral. I'm not on either side.
Morris says he just wants everyone off his land so he can clean it up to build affordable housing.
We're going to build just a big fence here and a gate here and put no trespassing signs. I'm not going to build it until all the tenants are out and, I start getting this place cleaned up.
In Atlanta, Mary Smith, Fox 5.
Here's what makes a lot of sense. Okay, when that guy said, I'm not on either side, that right there, him basically saying, look, I'm not political, I don't get involved in this. And seeing how it was that he moved to California, I really don't know where this guy is at, where he lies at. I don't know if he voted for this crap or not, but still at the same time, it looks to me like he's definitely had his eyes open to the ways of the world. A lot like what Anna Kasparian said at the very, very beginning. And of course, she's getting attacked by our own side. But there's something I did not mention, that right there, Stop Cop City. Now, Stop Cop City is something that I have done a couple of videos on in the past. I put them on my backup channel, my second channel, Gear Issue 33, which of course is a project channel. So a lot of videos over there. I'll link it in the description box. And of course, the video is coming out this week, a trailer to the new content that I'm doing on April the 14th, which is going to be a bigger video, my Zulu project. But still, the point is this right here. Stop Cop City is basically a protest, or it's a tent city that a bunch of Antifa types have put together to protest the training facility in that area of Georgia. Basically what it is, a bunch of cops are out there training. They're doing all their hand-to-hand. They're doing all their, I would say that they're doing all of their rapid deployment training over there, doing all kinds of stuff that cops, quite frankly, need to do. And of course, my opinion is I view cops as absolutely necessary, but I do think there are situations where cops can go too far and get it wrong. Of course, there's also a lot of situations where cops actually get it right. And I've also explained to you guys why I'm not in favor of defunding the police. But we'll talk more about that in video number 2, because obviously there are people out there who are turning on their own. And of course, it's starting to take shape in the middle of an election year. But still, the point is this right here. The squatting issue is definitely a freaking problem. The Stop Cop City crap, however, the people who were staying out there protesting, these right here were lowlifes too. No job, no family, no nothing. Well, no family even cares about them. Basically, the family that they do have knows that these individuals are sorry. They're not getting any money. They're just living off the government, living off the daggone land, not contributing to society or anything. Just going out there and protesting cops. So this guy right here, and I know that this topic was supposed to primarily talk about him. This right here is a case of a guy allowing certain people to take advantage of his kindness. Now, I do feel bad for the homeowner, and I'm on his side. I hope that he gets his property back, and I hope that these people don't get the money that they're suing him for. But speaking of suing somebody, look at what the Daily Mail just released.
My name is Cecilia. I'm the homeowner, and we are getting ready to have tenants in this property. A A few days prior, we came to just do one final inspection. We had an inspector here. Everything was beautiful. Everything was ready to go for the tenants to move in. And practically 24 hours later, the broker came here to find the logs were changed, called the police to find people broke into the house. This is not a squatter. This is a criminal activity. There needs to be an end put to this. Too many of these situations have been happening in New York, specifically in Queens, and us homeowners should not be terrorized by these criminals. So there will be an end put to this. The criminals were escorted out by police when we came the second time with the police, and they're not going to be let back in. This is absolutely unacceptable. The perpetrators did come with their attorney, and then they left. So we were not able to have a trial at that moment. Right now we're on break, and after the break, hopefully they'll be able to come back and have a full trial. I, as a homeowner, hardworking homeowner, now have to pull money and time out of my pocket to repair these damages, and just time in the mortgage that I still have to continue paying, and good, rightful, true tenants who are supposed to move in here are now pushed back for another month or two.
Squatters have this tendency to keep coming back to properties, especially if it's properties that they've actually squatted on. You see, a lot of these squatters are now using the laws, the very, very liberal laws, the reform laws, to do what? Sue the homeowner. Try to get whatever money they can out of them. Now, I touched on it very, very briefly, but let me go ahead and tell you what the overall end game of said squatter is. The overall end game of the squatter is to stay on the property, live there for free, charge you, run up your bills, as you saw in the case with New York City or the Queens area. And then they want to bring in other friends to stay up there. And of course, they want to destroy the property, destroy the area. And of course, you guys obviously caught that with my man in Georgia, my man in Atlanta. This is what they do. Then they turn right back around and they go to advocacy groups, they go to homeless advocacy groups. They get these people to bring in other attorneys, because most of these places are nonprofit, but they can still get attorneys, very, very liberal ones. Very, very weird how they do that. I'm not going to go through the process, but basically what ends up happening is they end up suing the homeowner. Now, remember, the homeowner, a lot of times, they're not there when the squatters are there. And, of course, the squatters are in there. And you remember the case in New York City with the family who wanted to move their son with Down syndrome into the house with their brother. These people, these squatters, ran these people's lights and water, and, of course, it ran the bill through the roof, which, by the way, the homeowner's got to pay for. Now, you're probably asking yourself a question right now. If it goes to small claims court, wouldn't the homeowner just end up winning, and wouldn't the squatter be forced to pay the money? Well, the homeowner would, in fact, win. But a lot of times, the squatter gets away. And what said squatter does is that they don't pay any money back. Now, they may get arrested at a later date, but still, though, the homeowner is out thousands of dollars, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Or like in the case of my man in Atlanta, who let those people on his property, he's about to get sued for $190 grand. And if he gets the right judge, well, really the wrong judge, they could, in fact, side with the squatters. That's why squatting is a big-time problem. These people, like I said, are leeches. No honor, no dignity. They're just there to take. They'll tell you that they think that God gave them the land, but of course, they'll then turn right back around and then deny God's existence shortly afterwards, because that's who these people are, scumbags. But then you get a case like the people who go on TikTok and advocate. Now, this gentleman that we're about to talk about, we've spoken about him before, and I didn't know how to fit him into a grander video, but of course, it is a part of a grander scale.
Migrant influencers at the center of controversy this morning. He has been using TikTok to coach migrants how to live in the U.S. by taking advantage of laws protecting squatters. Hannah Doba reports.
Una casa en United States.
In his most recent controversial TikTok video, Moreno is telling his followers to avoid living on the streets in the United States. They can, quote, invade empty homes and live there, saying under U.S. law, if a house is uninhabited, it can be seized, referring to squatting rights in our country. That video garnered almost 4 million views.
As we have more migrants moving into cities, more homelessness, we are going to see more of it, more squatting.
James Burling is a property rights attorney.
But they're talking about all the advantages that you can get from squatting. It's inevitable that it's going to increase.
In past videos, the illegal migrant bragged that he came to the United States to vacation and now lives off U.S. taxpayers because he had a child in this country. He also tells his followers that he waits for Americans' hard-earned pension checks to come in every month. In another video, he is urging fellow Venezuelans to pay the fines of a 15-year-old migrant who allegedly shot a tourist in Times Square, saying, quote, "Today it could be him, tomorrow it could be one of you." But this recent video on squatting is making headlines as Moreno tells his comrades that if they fix up an abandoned home that is deteriorated or in bad condition, they can get credits when the properties are sold. While Burling says that is not the case, the misinformation is now out there.
Well, I think publicity, like what we're seeing in TikTok and viral videos of that nature, are going to magnify the idea that squatting is an alternative to not having enough housing.
This guy right here, this guy that was just talked about, this guy from TikTok, he was recently arrested. His account was suspended, and no more of this misinformation can get out. But still, at the same time, he was giving people misinformation, primarily those who don't speak English who were coming over during the migrant crisis. If you live in New York City, if you live in Chicago, if you live in one of these very, very blue cities, or if you live in Atlanta, by the way, these places have extremely bad gun laws, meaning extremely strict gun laws. You're not going to be able to protect yourself against these people. A lot of times, these squatters don't just come to take your property. A lot of times, they come to take your property and take your life, too. Thank God this guy was arrested. And, of course, he's giving out wrong information because he doesn't know the laws of the land. But still, next thing you know, people start to show up to a property that doesn't belong to them, and yet you can't defend yourself, and then you could get the wrong judge. The truth be told is, if you actually fix the courts, a lot of this crap would be settled. A lot of laws would be taken care of if you'd actually fix the courts. And not just the Supreme Court. I'm talking about the appellate courts, all the lower level courts, the federal courts, anything and everything that could be court related. It's a big reason why it is that you want conservative judges, or at least constitutional judges, in your state or in your district. So what's going to happen as a result of all of this? Well, I did say before that there's 2 videos coming out today. There's also going to be a video coming out on Tuesday. It's going to be much, much longer that talks a lot about the left-wing grift and what the left-wing grift is actually doing. Of course, it will be the only video that gets released because of the schedule. I'll talk more about it towards the end. But what ends up happening? Well, let's go back to Anna really quick. Let's go back and let's look at exactly what's really and truly being said. So, yes, I took this next clip from Tim Pool, but pay attention.
This is fun. Anna Kasparian is officially a conservative. She says, I support Ron DeSantis, and I will vote for him in 2028. Everyone, all hail Ron DeSantis. I'm kidding. She didn't say it like that.
Oh, I was like, what?
She said, thank you for the free publicity. Yes, the bipartisan bill that DeSantis just signed protecting homeowners from thieves and squatters should be commended. Post Left Watch. I love that.
One of my favorite accounts.
They said Anna Kasparian praises Ron DeSantis and Florida for passing an anti-squatter bill and criticizes New York and California for sitting on their asses and doing nothing about it. She undercuts the premise when she says we don't know how widespread squatting really is. So I suppose it's only a matter of time before Anna comes out and says she's voting for Trump. And I think she might take, like, that probably would irk her that I said that, but it's reality. You can't deny it. You know, Anna, you're watching in real time people who believe in psychotic nonsense. It does not make sense to seize someone's home. It does not make sense to chop up bodies and put them in the drain and then not go to jail. And Anna knows this. And when she says this, if this is what it means to be on the left, I'm not on the left anymore. And Jen goes, no, trust me, it's not. And then every single time they prove her right.
Yeah.
The left comes out and says, yes, we want this. Cenk is trying to maintain this facade for the Young Turks of we're progressive, trust me. But deep down, the more Anna reads, the more she knows they're wrong, they're crazy. And Cenk is just going to keep saying, no, trust me, don't worry.
I feel like he knows too, though. I
Absolutely.
mean, you can't be on the same, set with her talking about this and feel like she's wrong.
Now, I'm going to own in really quick on what White said. I'm saying White because I don't recognize this person as a woman. Just saying, okay? It's the same thing with Jenner, Bruschetta, as I like to call him. Here's the thing. I've been saying for a very long time, I don't really do that many videos, but I was doing some videos early on. I've recently done a lot more videos when it comes to TYT. Cenk Uger's a bad actor. Cenk Uger is very, very much a bad actor. A lot of people think that he's really and truly that far gone. I think that he's that far gone only to a certain extent, and I think most of what he does is performative. it's it's funny too, because the original video that I had out for Saturday, I had to pull down, was on Hassan Piker, Jink's nephew. And of course, he got upset because he can only now get 13,000 views on a live stream. But still, the thing is this right here. People are starting to figure out the grift. People are starting to figure out exactly how full of crap these people are. If you guys remember the video, which, by the way, Tim was talking about with the person with the body parts, Jink even broke down during that video and basically said, no, this right here is not, no, this is the left. This is what you created. This right here is what Jink created. Anna, too. Anna is responsible for this, too. She's very, very much responsible for a lot of this crap. She really and truly is. She's just now coming back towards the center. She's starting to see that this is the left. This right here is the current left. I mean, you got a president right now who panders to the left so much that he's decided to forsake his entire religion. He claims to be Catholic. I don't believe he's really and truly a Catholic, but still at the same time, a real Catholic or a real Christian. But he chose to forsake Easter this weekend and go for T Visibility Day. That right there itself is his own video that I could make and rant and rave about, but I don't believe in rant and raving online because I want you guys to know this is really me. And I believe in putting on a performance. The thing is this right here, the squatter issue, and I personally think it's weird that DeSantis signed this law now. He should have signed this law a long time ago. But still, though, he got it done. I got to give him credit. This issue with squatters is an issue that's going to be turning a lot of people against the far left. But what happens to the far left when they've had everybody turning against them? Well, that right there will be the subject of the next video. But still, you can obviously see that an issue like this right here, issues that hit home, issues that actually hit your wallet, ultimately affect decisions going forward. Now, I've told you guys before, squatters are lowlifes. They're scumbags. This is who they are. Still, it's good to know that people are finally seeing that this right here is who the left really and truly is. Now, guys, before I end this video, let me go ahead and give you guys just a couple of small quick updates. To all my new subscribers, number one, thank you guys for subscribing, okay? Basically, what I do here on this channel is just talk about pretty much everything, especially if things go on in the country. It's an election year, and obviously I've chosen to do a lot more videos that will be a little bit more video essay light. I've got other channels, so therefore, obviously, I'm trying to spread my time out. I understand it's a little bit hard if you're on YouTube and you've got somebody after a while. You kind of understand, it gets kind of hard. Maybe I just did this to myself, put too much on myself. But here's the thing. From April all the way going into November, the weather where I live at is going to change, and we're going to have a lot, and I mean, we're going to have a lot of noise and commotion going out here every Monday where I live at. So the videos that you guys will see on Monday are normally videos that I did topics on, which, by the way, were topics that were discussed over the weekend that I decided to go ahead and put out there because I need to go ahead and do the video on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Now, what's probably going to happen is that over the course of this year, and I'm going to go ahead and try to do, the cutoff date for me, the deadline date for me is May the 16th because it's another doctor day where I've got to actually go out of town. I'm probably not going to be able to post for 2 days. The goal was to have essays or essay type content come out on Monday or Monday or Tuesday. The reason why obviously is because I don't really do videos on Monday themselves unless I'm doing them at night. And of course, the big videos coming out Tuesday, for example, you're going to kind of see exactly where we're going. The goal was to do 2 videos on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Friday, and of course, 1 on Saturday and Sunday, and of course, 1 on Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday will be the bigger videos, but over time, eventually the idea is to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the bigger videos and then 1 on the weekend, especially when we start doing much, much bigger topics and things that, quite frankly, are going to be more essay in nature because they oftentimes do a lot better here on the platform. Either way, that I felt like I needed to give you guys a bit of an update before I close this video out. This same clip will probably be in the second video that will be released. By the way, this video here will be released first and that second video will be released second. What's going to happen is that after tomorrow, I'm going to go back to the 3-6 schedule or the 2-5 schedule. I'll let you guys know exactly what time the videos are coming out the day before I release them, especially if they're projects that are not breaking or anything like that. Just figure I'd give you guys some heads up before we really and truly begin to go into the spring season. With that rather being said, to all of you guys out there, I hope you guys had a very, very good Easter weekend. Please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on this. Please subscribe to the channel. Please also share the video, post it to Facebook. I'll leave a link to Gearish 33 in the description box. And also something else, too. I'll try to leave a link to my Twitter and my Facebook profile as well. With that right there being said, once again, please leave a comment. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.